This fall, in a unanimous show of support, the House of Representatives voted in favor of a House resolution to designate the last week of September as National Hereditary Breast and Ovarian Cancer Week and the last Wednesday of the month as National Previvor Day. Hereditary Breast and Ovarian Cancer Week and Previvor Day will raise awareness of hereditary cancer, leading to more education, research, and resources. Jones Television senior producer Deborah Singer, a breast cancer survivor and gene mutation carrier, joins us now to discuss the significance of HBOC Week and National Previvor Day. Deborah, welcome to the show. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, it's great to be here. Thanks, Janette.
All right. First, tell us, what percentage of cancer patients actually have this hereditary gene?
Well, typically, cancers are 90% sporadic and 10% tend to be hereditary. So I'm sure, obviously, you probably already know that. Now, women who have the breast cancer gene, they're looking at an increased risk of 87% chance of actually having breast cancer in their lifetime. And typically, they'll most likely be diagnosed before they hit menopause.
Now, why are those two BRCA genes so important?
Well, the BRCA1 and BRCA2 gene are actually known as tumor suppressors, and healthy people are normally born with a set from each parent that are typically healthy. Now, women who have the breast cancer gene, they have a mutation, which means they have trouble turning off that potential cancer risk. So women who have that mutation have an increased risk, as I said, of getting breast and ovarian cancer, and sometimes women are looking at a risk of up to about, I think, 40%.
Sure. Now, how can one find out if they carry the BRCA or the breast cancer gene 1 or 2?
Well, typically they do a genetic test. We can actually get it done here in Northwest Arkansas. They offer that genetic test at the breast center down in Fayetteville, and I think they have a location in Bentonville as well. So it's a blood test. They're able to determine if a woman or a man carries that gene mutation, and they'll also receive genetic counseling to kind of help them deal with the results of what they're going to find out.
Sure. Is that an expensive, costly test?
Typically, it can cost between several $100s to several $1,000s, but it really varies on insurance, whether or not your insurance carrier will cover it or not. For me personally, when I had the genetic test done, I was already diagnosed with breast cancer, so my insurance covered it 100%, which was great, to learn that.
All right. Now, for those who test positive for those genes, what are their options? What are the next steps? What do they do at that point?
Well, for a woman who actually tests positive for the breast cancer gene, she is looking at several decisions. The great thing about getting the test done is that it informs you, that you're able to know, how can I control my risk of breast cancer? What a lot of young women are doing these days, they're having prophylactic surgeries, which means they're having prophylactic bilateral breast mastectomy, and they're also having their ovaries and their fallopian tubes taken out in order to prevent even getting cancer in those places in their body.
Sure. Now, from your experience, Deborah, what do you think the greatest benefits are of getting this genetic testing?
Well, as I said before, it's a chance to kind of be able to make informed decisions about your health, your future, and a lot of women, they may choose surveillance over having these surgeries that are really a huge deal when you think about it. I myself have chosen to have breast MRIs and mammograms every 6 months. I have a rotation of either procedure done, and I also make sure that I go to the gynecologist every 6 months to make sure that I'm getting those transvaginal ultrasounds, and also to get the clinical exam done. And there's a CA-125 blood test, which also helps to determine if a woman has ovarian cancer and catch it at an early stage.
Absolutely. So you're a very responsible person. Yeah. Preventative care, early detection is the key. Right. Well, tell us about some organizations that are involved with hereditary cancer awareness.
Well, there are several out there. Two big ones that I'm pretty familiar with are Bright Pink and FORCE, which stands for Facing Our Risk of Cancer Empowered. Now, FORCE is actually one of those nonprofits out there that is devoted to helping individuals and families that are affected by hereditary cancer, mostly breast and ovarian.
Now, I understand you recently went to a FORCE conference in Florida. Tell us about that.
Well, it was an amazing experience. It really gave me a chance to meet doctors and researchers and other women out there that are like me who carry this gene mutation, who face that increased risk of breast and ovarian cancer. I actually put together a little video to kind of help tell people what FORCE is all about and what they can learn at this annual conference.
All right, well, let's take a look at that video.
We know that almost 1 million people in the United States carry a BRCA1 or BRCA2 mutation, and most of those people are unaware of their risks. We serve a very diverse community, and it's really our goal to make sure that we're covering and addressing all the topics of interest to our community. And so we really try to run the gamut from prevention strategies to high-risk surveillance to what is the latest research.
You have advocates, you have genetic counselors, you have physicians, nurses, you have people who are doing cutting-edge research with our community.
It's about increasing access to experts so that people can really get excellent information and an opportunity to get personalized information, ask questions, present scenarios, their particular circumstance and their stage of life, so that the issue that's burning for them is really answered.
What I find most compelling about coming to the FORCE conference is in every single session, there's much of the time is spent on question and answers, and people get to ask very personal questions, and others who are listening get to benefit from really general answers, and you can't do that online.
They really helped me learn a lot about my risk and what I can do about it.
I have been empowered by coming here. What you don't know will hurt you. And I know now that I need to be checked.
The first conference I came to was, I don't know, I was awestruck about that there was a community. And there were other people with similar stories. You seem to feel that you're the only one, and suddenly you see there's so many people and everyone together, it makes it feel better somehow.
To talk to somebody who has your same genetic mutation, who's going through the same thing, who's had the same conversations with family, surgeons, doctors, it's so important. You have that connection no matter what you do for a living, no matter if you have kids, anything. You have that connection.
I think it's always good to talk to other women that are, you know, in your shoes.
They can, you know, encourage you and make you feel like, you know, that they've been there and your fears are, you know, are okay and everything's going to be okay. I mean, it's invaluable. There's no other organization. FORCE has been the one that's really, like, connected me to other women like me.
There's nowhere else or any other time where you have so many experts as well as people who are in this community all in the same place at the same time.
If you're at high risk, if you have a family history, if you have BRCA, if you had to do one thing to get information, if you can get to the conference, this is where you should be.
Deborah, where can one get more information about FORCE?
They can go online and visit www.facingourrisk.org.
All right. Do you have any advice or suggestions for our viewers who may be watching and just concerned if maybe they should go out and get a test, what would you say to them?
Well, I would definitely say that another important question I think a lot of people ask is, how do I even know if I am at risk of carrying a breast cancer gene mutation? And typically, it's in women who have had a family history of women having breast cancer and ovarian cancer, especially before the age of 50. So that's really key to know what your family history is. And it can come from your father's side. A lot of people think it just comes from your mother's side, but you have to look at your father's side of the family as well to rule out any kind of cancers. And once you get that test done, you'll know for sure whether or not you're a carrier.
Sure, and still monthly breast exams and mammogram at age 40 is recommended as well.
Right.
All right, well, thank you so much for joining us and sharing this information with us. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
All right. Family Health Today will be back in just a moment.